And I thought that I'm now in a position where I'm empowered to pass it on and kind of do the same thing. But I wanted it to be more structured. I wanted to be, instead of a one-off, I was a one-off. Most of us who are here are one-offs. So instead of it being in spite, despite the system and a one-off, I wanted to kind of work on creating something that can, become a system or something that can be organized. It's taken a while for me to put it all together. My mentors all told me to just wait for the right time, and I think with me moving to live, moving to Dubai, moving closer to home, having more time and energy to spare, definitely having a greater financial bucket to kind of plow out of into the foundation personally, all those things mattered a lot, and I thought the time was right to do it now. And yeah, we just started our first chapter in Baroda. Big thank you to Maharaja Samarjit Singh, who I met last year, and he got the whole academy made up. He's going to expand the golf course to 18 holes. Baroda, rich culture of sport, so he wants to do something for golf, and that's exactly what we're looking for. We want to collaborate with passionate people who feel the same way, and I think junior golf is just the beginning. We want to make a difference to improving the quality of coaches, the number of coaches, develop junior coaches, which is a specialty. You have a lot of coaches who work with high-level players,
Yes.
but those who are working with the Nadals and Federers won't necessarily work with the 7 and 8-year-olds. But you need to develop that as well. So that's another thing that we are working on. So multiple initiatives. We'll roll them out slowly, and want to create the proof of concept first. But I'm very happy and glad that it's underway.
Finally, before I go question to the floor, what's the kind of form the golf is made?
No, I feel like I've been playing really well. Honestly, my results so far on live have been sporadic. I had, I would say, only one good week in Jeddah where I finished 6th. But by and large, I feel like I've played well. I haven't scored my best. I took an extra week off coming into this week just so that I could prepare for this week. I feel rested. I feel focused. And I want to compete. I want to go out there and contend and be in contention on Sunday. I would love nothing more than to, win the National Open again, and I feel like I'm ready for it.
Questions from the floor, please. Rahul.
Since you mentioned golf, is there an element of needy involved in, like if you you're coming to play basically an Olympic tournament,
Yeah.
you put one over these guys, is that a factor or doesn't really matter?
I think for those who are actually playing the tournament, the answer is no. For those who are not playing the tournament, the answer is yes. And I say that because I've had a lot of my friends who are playing with me on live, who've played a lot of DP World Tour events recently, Joaquin, the South Africans, and they've had a fair measure of success. I think if you were to ask them, are you thinking about what you just said, they'll definitely say no, because I'm here to compete. I have to go out and shoot the best score possible. I have to try and beat the field and hoist the trophy at the end of the week. I'm not thinking about, the noise. What you mentioned is actually noise, and I personally am not thinking about it. But are my teammates, is Bryson in India who's going to be looking at this event, does he want me to win so that he can say that? Yes. Was I sitting in Dubai cheering Joaquin on to win or Louis on to win Mauritius? Yes. When you've been put in a little basket and painted a certain color, of course you feel that way. But for those who are actually playing, definitely not. I think we are all professionals and we're all here doing what we love, and we're all very happy to be here, and we just want to make the most of whatever opportunities we have.
Yeah, just one follow-up. So, the Swami was talking to Nico before you came, and he's of course had a very long career. Yours is still building.
Who are we talking about? Sorry.
Nico Polsar.
Yes, Nico, yes.
So, Swami put a good question. Given the fact that you've been now playing for this long, all around the world, what is the driver now? You've achieved a fair amount of success
Sure.
because of money and
Sure.
all that. So what is the driver at this point now to keep going and keep trying to
The
achieve?
driver at every point is, I want to win the tournament. I want to beat the field. I have to prove to myself that I can win again. Swami mentioned it's been a while, and nobody feels that more than I do. The weight of, I don't know how many dozens of seconds I've had lays heaviest on my shoulders. So I need to get that off my chest, off my back, and I'm being honest about it. I want to win. I'm desperate to win. and it takes me back to when I was starting my career. So even though I've played, 15, 16, I don't know how many years now, I'm still as desperate to win this week as I was 10, 15 years ago. Because I have to prove it to myself. I don't have to prove it to anybody else. My career and my achievements in the past speak to whatever I'm capable of. But I'm trying to prove to myself what I'm capable of right now, today, this week. And I think all professional athletes think like that. If you don't, then you're going backwards. So I come in with the same mindset.
So something result like what we saw in Palm Beach on Sunday, Peter Malnati winning after 8.5.
Yeah.
That was come as a bit of a sort of a.
I mean, you look all around, there are beautiful stories to be had. We have Matteo Manasero here. He was probably at the peak of his career when I was getting on to the European Tour. We talked about Nicholas Holsaerts. He was another guy who was, top 50 in the world when I was getting on to the European Tour. I still remember playing Abu Dhabi with him and Alvaro Quiros, because I used to hit it a mile back then, the younger me. And they pushed me in with these two long hitters. And so, I go back a long ways with a lot of the guys who are here this week, and there are beautiful stories, and like you said, what's the motivating factor? You have it right there. You don't have to look very far, whether it's Nico, Matteo, Peter Malnati, we're all out here trying to win tournaments, and that's what motivates us.
I'll get back to that.
Kiradek, yes, I know. I mean, again, last week, I was actually watching golf after a long time because I had three of my very close friends in contention. Doesn't happen often. Shivankar was in contention, Kiradek was in contention, Paul Casey was in contention, and like a three-way playoff between them would be fine. But that's how it is. You want the people who've been through struggles. I know what Kiradek went through because I went through the same thing, and it's not easy. You go through these ups and downs off the course. He's been through a lot, and all of us who've been through similar phases realize, appreciate, and understand that. So to see him playing well, smiling again, enjoying his golf again, it's fantastic. That's what you need.
Anirban, to Olympics. This is another Olympic year. How are you looking forward to that?
I'm looking forward to playing well this week. Unless I play well this week and potentially one or two more events, there's not much for me to look forward to, unfortunately. I'm trying my best, obviously. That's a big motivating factor for me this week to play well outside. Like I said, at the end of the week it becomes noise because you're still trying to win the event for the event. But yeah, I'd love to go to Paris. It's just how it is. Whether I play well or I don't play well, it doesn't reflect in the current world golf rankings, unfortunately. But that's how it is. So I have to do the best within whatever opportunities I have, and that's on me. I can't really cry about it or moan about it. But that's the situation. When it gets fixed, how it gets fixed, does it need to get fixed? Those are just different questions. Right now, I can control the next 4 rounds, and then maybe 1 or 2 more events that I can play, and that's all I can do. I can give it my absolute best, and if I play well enough, then I may have a chance. But that's about all I can hold myself accountable for. But yes, I would love to be on the flight to Paris.
Also, coming back to India gives you a great opportunity to meet your fellow Indian players.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. Yeah, no,
Uday and Chika, all of them are good interactions. Tell us
not
about
just
that.
it's not just your friends and the people who you know and who you work with and had working relationships and friendships with. It's a lot of the other kids as well. I've had a lot of the juniors and amateurs who are now turning pro, who've spoken to me, who are behind the scenes. I'm mentoring. You've got some of the young PGTA pros like Shaurya Pinnu is here, Aryan Ruparan is not here. I don't know if Viraj is playing, I haven't seen him. There's a lot of people here who I've seen over the last few years. Some who I have spoken to and advised when they were amateurs or even juniors who are now coming into the pro ranks. So to see them develop, Varun Parekh is another one, and I'm always there in whatever capacity to speak to them, or if they want to pick my brains or take any advice. I take a lot of joy in it. It's almost the same as what the foundation does at a grassroots level. I can give back at a more advanced or a professional level with accomplished players, and that's again something that I look forward to. I enjoy a lot. I learn a lot as well, and it's very humbling and a very satisfying feeling, because I would do the same with Jeev, I would do the same with Arjun, and even Jyoti to some extent, Daniel Chopra as well. I did that 10, 12, 15 years ago. And I know how important those interactions were for me. So I always make sure that I have the time to, do the same thing back. So, again, overused term, growing the game, it works in many different ways, but you just want to keep sharing and giving back, because they are going to be the future golf stars of India. So you want them to have all the opportunities and be equipped to handle whatever's in front of them.
Thank you.
When you entered LIV, there was a lot of negativity around LIV. Now, when the three tours, all the PGA,
Yeah.
European Tour, and LIV is sitting on the same table, do you see more acceptance now in the last couple of years?
To be honest, Rohit, it was a very bipartisan view. People were either on this side or that side. When you went to the US, or if I was to generalize the Western golfing fraternity, there was a lot more pushback, there was a lot more critique, and there was a lot more, I would say, propaganda, agenda, business, whatever. I don't want to get into that. But it's been a while now where people are beginning to see that, it's alive, it's happening, it's healthy, it's still growing. The level of golf, the quality of golf is quite outstanding, if I may say so. So, for me, right from the get-go, it was, I just need to put my head down and focus on making birdies, not to involve myself in the politics. I completely understand, people who have different views, they have their reasons for it. I've had my reasons to go to LIV. I don't need validation from someone else, to whether they agree or not. In my mind, in my family's mind, and my inner circle, my coach, my trainer, my performance specialist, everyone who really matters to me in my life, my friends, they all stood by me, they all understood, they all said, do it, this is going to give you a better life, your kids, everything's going to be moving in a positive direction. I don't regret anything I did. Where this ends up, I don't know. I wish I had a crystal ball to say that, oh, we're going to merge, or we're not going to merge, or, it's a complicated world right now. Unfortunately, it's very divided. Is it broken to some extent? Yes. Does it need to be fixed? Yes. I wish I had the answers. I don't. But I don't think LIV Golf is going anywhere. And I'm happy about that, because I've had my own reservations as well. It's not easy. You have to deal with a lot of negativity from outside. You have doubts inside. Did I do the right thing? Where's this going to go? And in the middle of all of that, you still have to beat some of the best players in the world. It's not a joke. You look at the field, the average strength, again, I'm not looking at world rankings, you look at the average strength of field, average major winners or PGA Tour or global winners, you see the tournaments that are
world number ones.
Well, yeah, there's 50 guys who won probably 300-400 tournaments in their careers. It's not a joke. So I'm still trying to beat all those guys. I'm trying to beat Brooks and Bryson and Cam Smith and John Rahm, and that's a pretty good field regardless of where you play. Even if I'm playing a weekend tournament at a golf club and these guys are playing, I still want to beat these guys, and they're not going to let up. They don't like to get beaten. None of these guys do. So, I'm very happy with where I am.
Realistically, you talked about Paris Olympic,
Yes.
and world rankings coming into play. If that was settled, would that be the most ideal situation for somebody like you who wants to get into
There's no
majors
point.
and into...
I agree with you. There's no point in speculating on what ifs. The reality of the situation is what it is. And within that framework, you have to find a way to qualify. It might be a situation where a lot of really good golfers who could be playing for their countries don't make it to Paris. And maybe that's what's needed for the world to wake up and say we need to do something. There's many ways to look at it. But again, I don't want to speculate. I just want to stay in the present. Right now I'm here for the Indian Open. I'm very happy, I'm very proud to be back. I want to keep my focus and everybody's focus on what we're doing here this week, and I'm just happy and proud to be here at my National Open. I'd love to play well and represent my country another time. That's it.
If I may ask, Arman, I know what it means to you to play for the Indian flag, the Indian team, the Asian Games, or whether it was the President's Cup, and all that you played for. So would you say that Olympics is a kind of an unfinished business for you?
Absolutely. No. I've had 2 goes at it I have a whole list of excuses for why I didn't play well, like every professional athlete. But again, by ones, you want to have. It's like a major championship, right? You want to have as many starts at majors as possible to contend and to win. So it's the same thing. The Olympics are fewer and much further in between. So, I don't know if where my golf for the world of golf will be 4 years from now. So I need to focus on, I said potentially 8 rounds or 12 rounds that I have between now and Paris that could get me there. I'm just focused on that.
So it's like 16 majors to 1 Olympics.
Yeah, I mean, the simple math is that. The complicated math is that you have to be in form and playing well in that cycle. You could be playing every major for 3 years and then you could get injured the Olympic year. So there's many ways to look at it. The simple math is 1:16. The complicated math is how was I playing when the Olympics came around?
2 weeks before that.
Or how was I playing when Liv came around? There's a lot of luck, there's a lot of timing associated with a lot of these things, and you just keep your head down and you keep working hard, and if you catch a break and you make the most of it, simple.
Anyone else? Any questions? I will not ask one. I want to ask one.
You missed Macau because you were ill?
Yes, I was a little bit under the weather. Even in Hong Kong, the last 2 days I struggled a little bit with my golf. I was beginning to come down with the flu. I met my doctor, and I knew with my travel schedule I was going to play here. Next week I play in Miami, lots of travel. And Hong Kong was my 5th event in 6 weeks, including transcontinental travel. So my body was feeling the brunt of it. And in light of the fact that I wanted to be at my best this week, I decided to skip Macau. I really didn't have a choice here.
Shantanu?
What do you make of the course and the conditions here?
The course is in brilliant shape. Conditions are great. I mean, it's nice to see DLF mature. I just got a ride back from the back nine and we came on the other golf course, the old golf course. And I still remember when I came here, I mentioned in 1999, they had just planted the trees on the old course. The first hole, back then you could see the green, you could see the 18, it was brand new. And then fast forward to 10, 12 years ago, when they redid this course, it was the same thing. Everything was brand new. Now you come back, the trees have grown out, fairways look narrower, it's got shape, it's gotten a little softer, which happens with age. So the course has matured very nicely. Again, it's a tough track. It's a very challenging golf course. It'll be interesting to see, how firm and how dry it gets, because that's when it really, bears its teeth. But yeah, it's a fair test, and it's a good test, and I'm looking forward to it.
What do you reckon would be the winning score?
The winning score is difficult to predict. Tilak, I mean, if somebody gets hot, it could be anything. We could have one guy run away with it and shoot 20, but I don't see 20 right now. But stranger things have happened. Again, depends a little bit on the conditions. Definitely double digits.
So during Chikarangappa's wedding, you had gave him a Rolex. So what was it that moment like?
You wanted to be in time.
No, the funny thing is, I'm an only child, and the absolute closest thing I've ever had to a sibling is him. I have to give you some context because it can be taken out of context. I moved to Bangalore when I was a teenager, and the first time I met Chika, he was 9 or 10 years old, picking up golf balls on the range. From teaching him how to use a knife and fork to speaking English, I've been through a lot with him. So, it was the same thing that I would do if my own brother was getting married, and I know how fond and how, the wonder he would have in his eyes. I've been with Rolex, I'm an ambassador now for over a decade, that he would have when he would see something that I was wearing. So it's something that I had intended to do. Fortunately, I was blessed enough that I could do something like that, and I'm glad because I think that's something that he will cherish for the rest of his life.
And Rolex was one of the brands which stayed with you when you shifted to Liv.
Yes, I'm still a Rolex ambassador.
Everybody wears watches.
Strategic. They were very clear in how they stand on golf. They want to do the best they can for the game. Right from when I was 14, 15, a lot of my coaching was funded by the Rolex grant given to the IGU. I've mentioned this many times before. So they look at golf in a very different perspective. They look at it in a 50-year, 100-year view and how they can associate with the sport and grow it. And I think when they looked at LIV, and a lot of their ambassadors, a lot of us ambassadors are playing on LIV, and they looked at it and they said, this could have the potential to be, a T20 format for golf. So in a 20 or 50-year view, it might be something that could be beneficial for the game or grow the game, and that's how they viewed it. And they don't, they don't see a downside to have ambassadors playing on LIV. And I'm grateful to them for that, for having an open mind. And yes, I'm still with that. And so are the other players who are on LIV before.
Last question, do you remember when you got your Rolex?
My first one, they're gonna love this interview. My first one was when I won the PGTI Order of Merit, because Rolex was, a major partner of the PGTI. In 2009, when I won the money list, I got my first Rolex from who's now the head, Arnaud Laborde, and a dear friend. It's my first one, and still probably my most special one.
Okay, we'll round off this now. One final question. You spoke about a huge amount of talent coming up.
Yeah.
Like Shaunya Binu, Varun Parekh, and all these young
Aryan Rupana. There's so many kids. Yeah.
It's a generational shift in Indian golf as it is all over the world.
No, I think definitely, you have these cycles. You have cycles in which you get a batch. Like I would say Ajitesh, Gaganjeet, myself, Himmat to some extent. We were one batch that came through about 15 odd years ago. Then you had a batch of Chika, Rashid, Angad. Shubhankar was a little after that because he turned pro early and then he peaked a little later. But then, of course, Shubhankar kind of pulled away from the pack. He's phenomenal. Very fond of him. Fantastic guy, great golfer, amazing talent. So after Shubhankar, after these guys, now there was a bit of a gap, I would say. There was talent, but it didn't kind of break through. We had the likes of Mane and Chima and those guys. Now you have another fresh batch, coming through. So it's important that as you get the next cycle of young golfers, they have the right guidance, they have the right mentorship, they have the right kind of targets, they have the right, they set goals properly and they understand what is good. I keep telling all these kids, your concept of good will change, it will evolve. Like Mane, when he came to Tokyo for the Olympics, he was like, how long is this golf course? And I'm like, no, this is actually not long, this is short. Like, how can you call this short? I'm like, this is short. This is only 7,400. No, it's not 74. So even someone who's won the PGTI Order of Merit, who's played Asian Tour, you come to an event like the Olympics and you get flabbergasted. What's going on? So you reset your concept of good. You reset that bar. So to a large extent, one of my biggest responsibilities is to talk to them and say, no, you're not. You think you're playing good. There's another good that you're not aware of. This is that next good. You get there. When you get there, call me. Then when you get there, I'll give you another concept of good. Yeah, because there are so many levels, there's a ladder and you have to keep pushing yourself up that ladder to break through, and that's what Shubhankar has done better than the rest, which is why he's playing at that level. So kudos to him.
Thank you so much. Okay, one final question, because I think after that he may not allow me, he won't speak to me anymore. One final question, Mashmi, we'll ask later. Yeah.
Okay, Anirban, can you tell us a bit about the personal growth since you last came here?
Personal growth? Wow, that's going to be a half an hour long answer.
That will be a one-on-one.
I'll give you a one line. I've been through a lot of ups and downs, lots of roller coasters. I came very close to quitting the game 3.5 years ago. The year I got COVID, the year I played Tokyo, I almost quit the game end of the year. There was a lot of cycles, a lot of things that I had to deal with off the course. People are talking more openly about mental health and your well-being off the course. I've had to deal with a lot of that, and I see a lot of golfers who are dealing with that. Like I mentioned, Kiradek, he's another person who had to go through it. So I've dealt with some of those challenges, but I'm happy to say that I think I'm exactly where I want to be in my life right now. The short version.